Hello, my most amazing artist, and welcome back to Art with Miss Yazel. Let's review what we did the last time. But before we do that, let's do our motto. I forgot. Today we will be creative, kind, and work like artists. Let's get our mindset right for some wonderful art. Third grade. Last video that I did for you was about op art, and you guys were attempting to create this look of a hand on top of something that looks like it's three-dimensional. And the way that we drew that was by using different kinds of lines to lead the eye around it. And it was an optical illusion kind of, wasn't it? Optical illusions trick your eye into thinking something is three-dimensional or something is moving. So we have lots of different examples of op art that each grade level did a different op art project the last time that I recorded. So today we're going to be learning to use pattern and create forms to make the artwork look more three-dimensional. So you are going to be thinking about space today, the element of art called space and the element of form. Also the principle of design called pattern. So let's talk about space first. So there's two-dimensional space, which is the area on your paper where you try to draw and make things look sometimes three-dimensional. So 2D space can best be described as an illusion. So you're trying to trick somebody into thinking that that is actually three-dimensional space. Do you see how these railroad tracks are going back into the distance? The artist is attempting to trick your eye into thinking that it is going back into space. Also, that objects in pictures are three-dimensional by the way that we draw them. So it's all about tricking someone's eye when we're talking about flat two-dimensional artwork, because you're trying to create the illusion of space in a flat surface. So when you are using 3D space, that is when you're creating things like sculptures. You're actually making something that takes up space in an area. So this sculpture takes up room because it has length, width, and depth. That means it has 3 dimensions. That's what 3D stands for. D stands for dimension or measurement. So three-dimensional media, which is the materials, occupies space. It includes sculpture, installation, that means where people install something into an area. They put stuff into an area. That's called an installation. And performance art, which is where people perform something and they have artwork going along with it. And then craft and product design. So things that are considered crafts and not art, and things that are being created as far as products, things that we buy. These artworks are in 3 dimensions and can be measured with length, width, and depth. So we're going to think about trying to create a picture that has some dimension to it. So it is going to be a 2-dimensional artwork that we're going to add a 3-dimensional element to it. So I was thinking this would be a really cool lesson, and it is a hot cup of cocoa, because it's wintertime. We will often be drinking cocoa if we come in from where it's cold. I would love to have a big hot cup of cocoa when I come in out of the cold. So we're going to create this background, and then the 3-dimensional part is actually the mug. So it's actually coming off the page, and the smoke that's coming out is also 3-dimensional. So what you're going to need for this project is you're going to need a piece of paper for the background. You're also going to need another smaller piece for the mug, and by small I mean probably a hand width or more. Let's see, hand width or more wide, and then longer than your hand this way. So as wide as your hand this way, and then longer than your hand this way. Okay, use a ruler, and in about 4x6 would work probably. Maybe 4x7 or 8 if you want the mug to be a little bigger. But anyway, markers, crayons, glue. If you need to cut the smaller piece of paper, you probably need some scissors for that. So a 9x12 or an 8.5x11 would work. 8.5x11 is just regular old copy paper size, like the worksheets that you get at school are 8.5x11. But if you have like construction paper, that would work too. You probably need a little bit heavier paper if you have it. If you don't, that's okay. Use the thin stuff. It'll still work. So markers, crayons, glue, scissors, and this stuff that's coming out, the smoke, they actually used something called quilt batting. It's the stuff you put in between the layers of fabric in a quilt, but you can also use cotton balls. So quilt batting or stuffing, like the stuff you put in pillows and to restuff the pillows with, or cotton. Cotton balls will work too, okay? I'm going to demonstrate using cotton balls. So grab your materials and